4 years, we are faced with the decision of electing a new president into office. With this comes an evaluation of our goals, our morals, the future to come, and what we want out of our president that's going to run the United States. Some of the topics that are going to be debated, I'm sure many of you have already heard of, so I'm not going to repeat them again. But what I want to talk about today is the presidential election and global warming and agriculture, and the effects that global warming has on agriculture. So the whole world depends on farmers, as many of you know, which brings it to, have any of you guys grown up on farms? 2 of you, that's not too bad. I grew up on a farm myself, so this is a big area of interest for myself. Without farmers, we wouldn't have a lot of products. Can anyone tell me a couple of the products that the world would not have?
Corn.
That is right. Big one in Iowa especially.
Pork and beef.
Yep, that's good. So you thought even beyond the crops, the animals that would not be here if we didn't have farmers and cropland. So in Iowa alone, I want to talk about corn and what's kind of going on this summer. I'm sure many of you have already noticed there's a big drought going around. Well, last year we produced 12.4 million bushels of corn in Iowa alone. That's huge. That's actually the biggest crop that's ever produced in any single area, and the majority of that came from Iowa, where many of us are. 2 of you guys have farms, so you contributed to that. And that 12.4 million bushels barely fed the whole world, all the humans, all the animals, and all the byproducts that are used out of corn, such as gas and such. With less cropland, things that are going to be affected are job losses, because agriculture is huge and crop is a lot of that. So a lot of jobs are going to be lost on top of the jobs that are already being lost right now. There's going to be less food to eat for humans and animals, a lot of less nutrients that are going to be, we're going to have a lot of false nutrients that are made, and the prices are going to go up. We've already all seen gas prices jump. That's been a major problem. So gas jumped 20 cents the other day. I think it's at $3.49 now. So we're just going to see more and more of that within restaurants, within just schools, everywhere. That's all that prices are going to jump. So as you can see, cropland is pretty important to humans. And I wanted to point out this summer, I'm sure many of you noticed this, I have these 2 cups. One is full of water and one is pretty much almost empty. So today, many of you can look around and see that the corn in Iowa is not looking too well. It's brown like it would normally be in the fall. Right now it's supposed to be nice and tall and green with lots of ears of corn on it. Some of them don't even have any ears of corn. So what I'm showing you here is this is the amount of water that we had last year that produced that 12.4 million bushels of corn. And this is the water we've had this year. That is a significant difference, as many of you can see. And that's probably going to cut our corn in about half. And a lot of that has to go to animals too. So farmers don't even have ears of corn that are growing. I'll let you guys look at that. So that's going to be a big impact on this next coming year, and we're going to see a lot of that things that I mentioned earlier: job loss, rising prices, less food, and stuff like that. So now I just want to touch on what about the animals, because a lot of us are concerned about the animals, and a lot of us eat a lot of animal byproducts. So importantly, animals are going to have a less healthy lifestyle. Farmers can't afford corn. They're not going to be able to. They can't really now. They're not going to definitely be able to next year whenever prices have spiked. So they can't really feed their animals the proper things that they need, and they're going to get fed a lot of grass and a lot of hay. Which in return is going to be, there's going to be less animals, and there's going to be low quality of byproducts. What are some of the byproducts that we get from animals?
Cheese.
Yeah, we get cheese. That one, you come from the dairy cattle who eat a lot of corn, who produce a lot of milk, who give us the cheese. Anything else?
Eggs.
Eggs from chickens. That's what they also eat, or they also eat corn. So 3 of the main animals that we eat are cows, pigs, and chickens, and they all eat corn as their main diet. Finally, I want to talk about our human health and how that's going to be affected. The nutrient value in corn alone is just huge. A lot of people wouldn't really think about it. A number 1 vitamin that comes from that is B vitamins. B vitamins, all of you, I'm sure have fingernails, let's hope so. If you look at those, that is what your fingernails are made of, is B vitamins. It's very essential. When those, you may have noticed that your fingernails are brittle, they break easily, it's because you're probably lacking in B vitamins. We also get vitamin C and vitamin K, tons of vitamins, tons of just good things that your body really needs. Also with that is vitamin deficiencies. A lot of humans can get this, but more so we're probably going to see it in animals because they're going to be last to get to the corn that they need. A big one that gets deficiencies is chickens, or not, yeah, chickens, sorry. They get it in their legs where they can't really hold themselves up. They get it in their feathers rot and fall off. But the sad part about that is, besides them being sick and not healthy like they should be, us as humans, that's all we have, so we are still fed those animals. And that's really low quality, so that's not going to help our health. So along with animal health being very downgraded, we are going to eat that downgraded health, and it's going to affect us in a negative way. So as you can see, with the rising temperatures and weather patterns, the crops can't perform like they should. Corn is being turned into pasture land. Pasture land is drying up, and cattle don't have enough food, so we're feeding them more hay, which we can't produce. It's just like a vicious circle that's happening here, as many of you can probably see. So we need to take a stand. The farmers are trying everything they can. They're used to unusual weather patterns. You know, last year in Iowa, we had floods, and that took out a lot of the crops. And this year we're having a drought. You know, those are both just obviously extreme and opposite. So, you know, what's to come next year? We had a really warm winter, so the farmers can't predict everything, and they can't keep up with it. They have to have a normal, regular cycle to keep the crops, you know, going and regular with soil and everything. So this is where you come in the presidential election, as many of you are kind of wondering how I'm going to tie that back. Well, when we think about where we want our future to go, obviously we want to have good food to eat, we want to have healthy animals, we want to have healthy bodies ourselves, and be able to pay for things. So it's important to look at global warming and climate change in the election, especially with, you know, what it affects the agriculture world. The facts all point in one direction, that it's not working, it's going downhill. So here's your chance to make a difference and take a stand. I know where I'm going to stand. I hope that you guys can really think about this and process, and before you place your vote, think about where you want to stand on global warming and the effect that it has on our future. Any questions? All right, thank you all for coming.